What is up, entrepreneurs? Welcome to the Friday Live Helpcast with your hostess, the mostess, Diana Gladney. I'm pumped. I'm excited to be here with you. We have a huge announcement today that I'm going to get into a little bit later. And of course, your regular YouTube Q&A, live streaming Q&A. We have a new camera in the office that I'm super pumped. Many of you have a new camera in your home office, shindiggy. You know, you got some new things going about. Released a new video about the settings for said camera. Okay. We'll get into all of those things. And then of course your questions and things like that. So the stream will not run tremendously long. See how I said there? I didn't say just long. I said tremendously long. So it makes a difference, gosh darn it. And we're sticking to it. All right. I'm pumped. I'm excited to be here. I want to get into some details, but first we'll say hello to the Glad Gang in the building. We have the David Hunt official.com, not his website, but could be. He said, first, looking forward to this wheel. Of course, who else other than David would think that this has something, hopefully something to do with the Wheel of Wonder. But good to see you, brother. Glad that you're here. Tawana, good to see you. Glad that you are here. See, I'm just waiting for that wow announcement in the ZVE10 giveaway. Okay. All right. Little predictions here. All righty. What's going on, Kimbucha? Said I'm second. All right. Devin, good to see you. Glad that you're here. I'm doing very well. You know, got me a fresh, piping hot cup of Joe and Colombian roast for the win. Good morning. Good to see you, Jojo the techie. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Stand like a kid in a candy store with my new ZVE10. Yes, yes, yes. So the ZVE10 did make its final appearance. Talk about being fashionably late. What do you call it if it's not fashionably late? Just horribly late? Is that what you call it? It's not late technically, but I'm just saying other countries, like literally every other country got their ZVE10 before the ones in America started to ship out, but it is here. It's in the office. We already have the first video on the channel walking you through every setting for video. With this one, it's just very interesting. It's very different. The more that I go through all of these Sony cameras, the more that I use them, the more that they are just really, so it's one thing to be a fangirl or enjoy it or whatever the case is, which I would definitely say that I am. I personally do enjoy. It's like your favorite football team, basketball team, or what have you. That's kind of how I feel about Sony. And it just is something different though when it hits like it's supposed to. I think a lot of people have some misconceptions that are incorrect about this camera, but we'll get into your Q&A questions about it. Been rocking it with the 10 to 18 lens on there. Sigma 16 has also been performing exceptionally well and everything like that. So we've talked about this camera before, but we'll get into this. But the ZVE10 has finally arrived in the building. Said we're giving away gear. I don't know. You know, I do know who's David. That's who started it. I was just about to say, I don't know who started. I do know who started it. It was David. It's all right. Neither here nor there, because that's not what we doing out here in these streets, at least not yet. I will let you know if we have a day where we give something like a ZVE10. It's possible. I ain't gonna say it's not gonna happen. I would say it's possible. What's going on, Sammy Superstar? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. Said I'm waiting for it. No, not at all. All right, but I will not leave you in suspense, and then we will get on to your Q&A. So moderators in the chat to be in the community helping out. If you have a question, put a Q with colon and then ask your question, and I'll put those to the side so that we can make sure we dive in and answer those for you. If you do have questions about the ZVE10, feel free to start dropping those as well. We have something huge going on here in the company. And this is something that a lot of people have asked for quite some time. And definitely for sure last year just did not have capacity to do it. This year we do. And I'm super pumped and excited to be announcing something that, again, you all have been asking for regularly besides the Wheel of Wonder. For those of you that are in the Wheel of Wonder camp, I'm glad y'all love that game. We'll get into that shortly. Maybe we'll do something with the Wheel of Wonder. Who knows? But play a quick video for you real quick that's going to get into the nitty gritty. I'll answer any questions that you guys have, and then we'll get into our regular scheduled program with our Q&A and then cover some stuff with the ZBD10. I'm super pumped. Let's get into it. Do you want to share your message, but you're constantly feeling overwhelmed? Or maybe you're struggling to come up with content ideas on social media. Posting regularly is the best way to amplify your brand, but it can be time consuming and frustrating with the ever-growing list of to-dos across social media platforms. Mastering micro content is designed to help entrepreneurs accelerate their social media marketing by leveraging video and other ways you'll likely be overlooking that you can use to connect with your audience and build your brand to earn more customers even with a small audience. Go to masteringmicro.live. Yeah. We have a course. We have a course dropping, and it's coming out on, well, I will say that we're starting. It's already out, but it's starting on September the 20th. And so if I got my dates right, because listen, we've been working out here in these streets. We got Leap in the live stream coming up and all of that. But we have this Mastering Micro Content course that is available. You can go ahead and right now and get the launch price for this course. You can go ahead and go to masteringmicro.live, Live, and check it out for yourself. The page is available. It goes into more details about it. But the biggest thing is that a lot of people have been complaining about their social media content. How do I create more? How do I create consistently? How do I create something that people are actually going to engage with? But furthermore, it's just not about growing to a certain follower count. That's nice, but I'm about conversions. I'm about making sure that the people are actually getting helped and that there is an exchange for value, and money is an exchange for value. So customers and clients can absolutely happen with a small audience. On social media, any of these platforms, it does not matter. My social growth, I can definitely say, has grown to a point. It made me have to hire a team. And with that team, even still, is like looking now to hire more team members, which is a blessing. But this is something that you absolutely can do no matter where you are in your journey. And I've had where I'm constantly, just for certain services that I do not offer any longer, in my consulting business, where I'm having to send them off to people. I'm having to refer them to other people that I trust to help. And so I've just put a few things up here on the page so that you guys can see it again. Go to masteringmicro.live. It's about micro content strategy. A lot of people are doing, I would say, fairly good, or they're okay with their pillar content, that main piece of content that you put out maybe every single week. Maybe for some of y'all, you've gotten off with that. It's okay. You can always begin again. And so I've worked with companies like Think Media. Most people don't know what I did for them was I edited their micro content. You may hear my voice even on some of their ads as the voice that would be after a piece played. So when they would partner with different entrepreneurs, different companies, or things like that, I write the copy really quickly to make sure that it's something that's going to work. And, working with the team, we would produce different pieces, and those pieces are still recycled out and they're still doing exceptionally well. I've had the pleasure of working with people like Ray Edwards, the incredible copywriter, who, it's not that I just be professing this, guys, but this stuff works. How to write copy that sells. I've worked with Ray Edwards, still work with Ray Edwards, and his content pieces are, even when he first got started on TikTok and we were putting pieces there, that transitioned and translated into some significant income for a mastermind that he had coming up. So it does not take a whole bunch of followers, a whole bunch of views for stuff to convert. I've had this happen and do have this happen regularly for my own stuff, to where I'm able to have people to reach out to me, hire me for coaching. So the views translates to income. So start getting regular engagement, things that are not just make you feel good, but know that you're actually making a difference, actually helping people go through the process of getting crap done. I could say it another way, but I'm just going to say getting crap done. On this page also is details into the course breakdown, the things that we'll get into, just to name a few things, because I don't want to go through and just read the page. It's available. All right. Social media myths to avoid, because a lot of the strategy information that people believe or think in this entrepreneur content creation space is a myth. It's more or less things that people think are true, but it's not necessarily true and isn't true for them and isn't true for their niche. And so they don't pursue social media content, period, it seems. And I've had so many people that fall into that category. Is crazy, but they take myths or belief systems or what have you, and there are certain things that prevent you from having success with your content. We'll get into what platforms to leverage current trends and things like that that you absolutely should be leveraging with ideas. We'll also be going through weekly live training. So this will not be an exhaustive, long thing. We're 3 to 4 weeks and out. 4 weeks is just a wrap up. So in and out. So within a month's time frame, you're ready to rock and roll, and you're ready to roll, honestly, within the first week. So we're going through a content measurement and growth hacking. We're going through my creative content formula that I use in my business, that I use with clients that I've worked with. And that system works. It's something that I've built and developed over the, I'd say, last couple years, but really just dialed in this year for sure, with like getting that last little bit of oomph to it. And so that system just continues to do better and better. So I'm going to be revealing that in this course, the creative content formula, which I'm very proud of, and also getting into creating attractive social media content, again, that not just gets you attention, but translates to customers, clients, and the things they're about, round about those pieces. So if you want to check that out, be sure to go to, again, link is the masteringmicro.live. If you guys have any quick questions, we can definitely dive into that, but you'll hear more about it moving forward. But let's go back over here. Just so you know, this is not fake. This countdown timer. Sometimes you'll see these on certain ads, maybe, and I get it, where it's like, oh, you only got so, but if you see it's like 14 days from now, and then we start. So you don't have a whole lot of time before we actually get started, and the price of this will go up after this launch. So it'll be available still, and you can purchase it later, depending on when you're watching this live or on the replay. Then you can still take advantage of this later, but it will not be at the same price. So this current price right now is the early bird launch pricing, and that will change. And it's not one of those things where it'll fluctuate and go, no, it successively will change. So it's not ever going to be this price again. And that's something I'm going to stand by, because I've been there where you purchase the course and then it comes back around. It'll never be this price again. And then it is actually lower or something like a week later or whatever. Not happening out here in the street. So you guys have been asking about being more consistent, being on social media, doing a hashtag, doing all the things, and how. For entrepreneurs that are getting in content creation space, I think you're going to really, really dig this course. Let's go over to some questions. Jojo, I did see you got the one there about the ZVE10. And I, of course, am looking very much so forward to getting into the ZVE10 content, because about ready, pulled my freaking eyebrow hair out, waiting for this camera to arrive, then fell asleep, didn't miss the delivery, but fell asleep and it was here. And I was just like, oh, let me go get it. So it's funny how things work out. So as Kombucha has stated, be sure to put a Q down for you to make sure that I'm able to see and properly filter through any questions that you have. Devin Chambers, having fun. Black Queen Photography, good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying, let me go get my money ready. Well, brother, do what you got to do. All right. All I'm saying is, let me get this center, because that's going to drive me right there. There we go. All I'm saying is, don't have y'all wives, cousins, and spouses calling me. Okay. I'm just saying, about the said transactions, handle your business in your households. All right. Sammy, good to see you. You're okay. Pulling in India. All righty. What's going on, Camera Junkie? Good to see you. Glad that you are here. All righty. So details again at the link, as you guys can see. All righty. So let's move into some Q&As, some things about the ZVE10, because I do want to keep this string moving right along. So Jojo asking, interested in a dummy battery for the ZVE10, any recommendations? Why, yes, actually, we put out regular blog posts on my website. And so we covered some accessories. I haven't translated that into a video yet, but over here on the site, let me pull this up real quick. and I'm constantly adding other things that I find are more helpful or replacing certain things. But I would say, since this uses the FW50 battery specifically in the ZV-E10, go ahead and actually use the Sony dedicated battery, because it's just not worth it to mess up your camera and all this other stuff. Like, it's just not. So if you want to listen, you can listen to the blog post if that's better for certain. I know some of you guys have, you're visually impaired or things like that. So you can definitely listen to some of these. That's something that's coming out also on the blog. So you'll see more of that. But first things up, right on here, JoJo, battery and power options, this Sony AC adapter. I personally, there are like third-party options, and we'll get into that in a second, but I personally recommend getting the Sony one because it's not really that much more. And I've had so many people run into the problem where they get these random brands on Amazon that honestly don't have whatever stuff that they need to have on the inside and short the camera out. I've done that before with my M50. It is not a fun party. So, and needless to say, to pay for the repairs, or if your camera's new like all of these are, then having to send that in and then wait and that whole process. So I'd recommend getting the Sony one. You can get one used, it will still do well, but that way you can run for as long as you need to. I think I've had mine now since October or maybe September 2019. Yeah, 2019. And it's done exceptionally well. No issues, no overheating, traveling, thrown in a bag, whatever they do underneath the airplane that you know is just like the way they toss bags, it survives. No cracks. It's heavy duty. And so even though the camera is $700, I still would recommend going ahead and getting this one. It's just, it does its job and does it well without fault. The other one that is highly recommended, significantly cheaper, but again, over time, you run this risk of potentially it not kind of doing the thing that it needs to. And so this is the Go 9 one that's available on Amazon. I'll drop the link to this blog post in the chat so you can get access to that. But yeah, I mean, the Go 9 one is fine. I know people on YouTube and online have recommended this and they use this. And the same thing with third-party battery options, because that's right underneath there. I'm just, my experience, 5 years in the game, going into 6 now, and buying the cheap stuff or whatever, when it starts to make a whining noise, or if it just makes one right out the box, don't use it. Don't you plug your camera up to that thing. Certain cables get frazzled or it's not quite right. Don't use it. So a couple things to test out with this one. I've never used it. Let me be very clear with this one. I've never used this one. I went ahead and just got me two, what was that? It was open box. So somebody bought it, didn't even unravel it, and just like returned it. I guess maybe they thought they needed it for something, or could have bought the wrong thing. Either way, it got returned and it just did not have the box. And so I got 2 of them brand new for $100. And so that's what I use, is the Sony branded one, but I don't use those. If I do use anything that is a third party, like for the A6600, for example, it's the Riced Up company that I always talk about. I like them. As far as the battery, same thing. I did get a dummy kit in. It's actually on the charger, but it was by Neewer. Came in the plastic case here. Actually, it was really nice. I like this a lot, but it wasn't for the batteries. It was just for the USB charger. But Wasabi is one that is highly recommended for any camera. Just about. Wasabi batteries tend to do pretty well for the price and for the performance over time. I just recommend getting, if anything, you can get a used Sony battery, and I would go that route, because personally, again, some of these other brands, random brands online, is like, oh, you get 4 of these batteries or whatever. The milliamp or is it milliamp hour amperages or whatever, milliamp hours, those always vary. The performance always vary. I did battery tests yesterday to compare the performance. I haven't tested the Neewer batteries out yet, so I'll still need to do testing on those. But it always varies, and they constantly trickle down. Whereas an older Sony battery will maintain, won't swell up or anything like that. So you just, yeah, you can get them cheap now, but how many times are you going to rebuy batteries, because they swell, they lose potency essentially. But choices. I just think don't cheap out on certain stuff, memory cards and power options, because once you short your camera out, it'll piss you off. So word to the wise there. So hopefully that helps. If anybody else has questions about the ZV-E10, like I said, we have it in the office. Got the videos coming. I'm gonna share my thoughts on this camera in a bit. We got another question though, so I'm gonna dive into that, but I'm very pleased with it. And I do want to get into some comparison videos between that, the A66, and then like maybe compare the A61, 64, ZV-E10 and the A6600. There's a lot of goodness in this camera, and yeah, some people missed a lot of stuff in some of these initial videos. I'll put it that way. Tyler, good to see you, saying looking to get my first camera and lens for video photography. What are the pros and cons to Sony versus Canon? Well, first I would ask, what kind of videos are you going to do? Personally, that is not going to be based on the brand per se. It will be based on the features, and that is kind of what trickles you into a brand. So I'm not going to just give you a blind recommendation and just go buy X, Y, and Z. What kind of videos are you doing? What kind of environment are you going to be in? And based on that is going to dictate like what features that I'm going to say, okay, well, this brand has X, Y, and Z, and this camera model or these series of camera models is the one. So it's not just like pick a brand and it just is. You can, but that's a good way to waste your money. And I'm not about that life. So let me know some additional details there, and I can give you an actual recommendation for, you know, what it is that you're going to be doing. What's up, Mari's Music? Good to see you. Glad that you're here. Let's see here. Did I skip one? I don't think so. Let me search real quick. Yeah. All right. Saying what's going on, Maston Park. Saying peace of mind. All right, brother. Good to see you. Glad that you're here. So yeah, when it comes to camera recommendations, if you're just saying like, oh, I'm just going to do video, what kind of video? Somebody that's getting into wildlife photography and the specifications that you kind of want to lean into there are very different than somebody that's just putting it on a tripod. It's sitting in the home office, and that is all that it's ever going to do. Or how far or away you are, that dictates the lens and the focal length that you need. Both of them have good autofocus, so you're fine there. The bigger difference when it comes to the video side of things, photography is going to be very comparable. Both of them have eye autofocus, but it will differ when you're talking about getting into, you know, lenses, price of lenses, focal ranges, sharpness and quality, whatever. I get you saying getting started, but both of them have good options that you can use to get started. But when it comes to video, the biggest difference between Canon and Sony is going to be the recording limits, and for some people, the ability to literally change and tap on the screen for the icons or whatever, or depending on what model, you know, now overheating, unfortunately, with some of the Canon cameras, but not all of them, but the two higher end ones, R5, R6. I don't think you're probably gonna go in that territory, but again, just need more details. So YouTube and live streaming plus growing kids. I mean, if you want to go the Canon route, a couple concerns with what I had been recommending, which is the Canon M6 Mark II. It's a good camera, 4K 30 frames per second, 1080p 120 frames per second, super slow motion. So if your kid is throwing a ball at the other kid's head and you want to catch that in live action, you could do that. Sony cameras have the same similar settings as well. Only problem is, my prediction is like over the next probably like year, 2 years maybe, could be sooner, could be further out, but I'm just like the sensing of potentially Canon is not going to continue that line. That has nothing to do with the fact that that being a good camera and that working for you. It has clean HDMI out, so you can live stream with it. You can get a lens that will fit on there, which is for live streaming. If you're going to be relatively close to it, you can use this Sigma 16 lens that you need to make sure it says EF-M. So really sharp lens, very wide. You could be like relatively close, have videos on this lens on the channel. But this is one that's good, and Sigma makes this for a bunch of other ones. Shout out to the military. So I think that, God, Lee, they're loud as hell. Depends on how the mic and stuff handles it, but they are loud as hell. But this lens is good. It'll get you through for live streaming, stuff like that. Kit lens is fine for you bouncing around playing with your kids or whatever, quickly zoom, whatever. However, YouTube videos, again, that's super generic. What kind of stuff are you wanting to do? Again, if it's just mostly sitting it on a tripod, anything will do. More than likely, you're leaning towards one brand or the other already. Go with what you want, because it doesn't matter what I recommend. It's really what you want. So if you want a Canon, get one. If you want a Sony, get one. Easiest recommendation, the same similar price range, honestly a little bit cheaper, way better in my opinion for a couple of reasons I'm getting to in a second, is the ZV-E10. You're gonna hear me talk about this camera and recommend this camera a lot, and not because it's new, but because it answers a lot of questions. So this camera also has a flip out screen, eye autofocus that is insane. It is small, lightweight, clean HDMI for live streaming, even has the USB live streaming in there, so you don't need a capture card. Unless you want to use one, then you can get a little bit higher quality, but if you use Ecamm Live, you can get up to 4K via USB. We're working on that right now, so TBD on that one. But $699 for the body. You get something like the Sigma 16. Again, I'm just sharing that as an option, not the one you should get right now though, because I don't know how close you're going to be. But if you're going to be relatively close, Sigma 16 will be fine. This has one mount. So in the difference where I was saying about Canon, here's where this becomes different. Because Sony uses one mount, doesn't matter what camera, full frame, APS-C, that language may not be something that you're aware of, but it doesn't matter what camera that you get between the Sony ones, all of the lenses will still fit. So you can move around and switch camera bodies later on if you want to, and still have access to your lenses, even though this is like an APS-C based on like the sensor size in here. You can go into full frame later on if you ever want to, and there's still a version or a mode in the camera so you can still use your lens. Whereas with Canon, the EF-M lineup, it's fine right now. Again, there's some good lenses out there from Sigma, thankfully, and some other brands that have some stuff. And then Canon has some good ones as well. You can sit and use those for that, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine for a long time, honestly, until you want something better. But you cannot take those lenses and go anywhere like you would have to if you decide you want to go full frame. The Canon R, RP, well, I wouldn't say the R3 too much, but could be R6 even, or if they come out with something like the RC, maybe, who knows what brand. If you get something else, those lenses that you get for the EF-M, for the Canon M6 Mark II, you can't take those lenses and do anything with them. So you'd have to sell all that stuff or keep it all, one or the other. But you can't like convert the lens or adapt the lens to something else. How am I putting this on here? There we go. But yeah, so it's a little bit more to it than that. And I'm sharing all this stuff with you so you don't get duped thinking like, oh yeah, people talk about adapting lenses, I can just adapt my Canon M50 or M6 Mark II lens. It's like, yeah, no, you can't. So something to think about. Like I said, the RP for some people, it's fine. It has some limitations and stuff like that. I have a lot of videos on the Canon products on the channel as well, comparing that to the original M50, whatever. M50 Mark II, I wouldn't recommend, honestly. Yeah, it has this screen orientation here versus the M6 flip up, but that is not good enough to make me suggest it to you over the M6 Mark II. It's just a preference on the screen at that point, but the features that you're going to get and the benefits and the quality performance out of the M6 Mark II is going to be better than the M50 Mark II. Just trust me on that one without getting into a ton of specs, but I can if you want. So wanting to make a video version of our podcast. Now we get into Sony territory, because this is where it makes, this is the line that a lot of people just instantly, we stop talking about Canon. When you want to get an unlimited recording and you want to record and live stream. So for example, if I put a memory card in this camera right now, I can record and be live at the same time, and they can both be in 4K if I wanted it to be. And I've done that a lot of times, especially for talks and things like that. Podcasts as well, especially if you do it live, whatever. And it's just good as a backup. Canon, I don't even know anybody else that can do that, but Canon for sure cannot do that. Unlimited recording, Canon does not offer it currently. As of September 2021, Canon has no camera that has unlimited recording that is in a mirrorless body. So you're stuck at the 29 minutes and 59 seconds So if you're fine with that because your podcast is a 10-minute podcast, then you're good. But if you are going to be constantly doing like long form content that is over that 29.59 for recording, I'm specifically talking about recording, not live streaming. Live streaming, you go as long as you want to. Recording though, no. You're going to stop at 29.59 or sooner. Usually it's about that 22.25. You're like, okay, let's stop and restart. So some people are fine with that. I stopped being fine with it, which is why in 2019 I switched to Sony because they just offered better things for my needs. But you want to go for the gold? ZV-E10 right now is the camera to get, not just because it's new, but because it literally has all the features of what I'm talking about. 4K 30, 1080p, 120 frames per second, eye autofocus, even animal eye autofocus, unlimited recording in 1080p or 4K, USB live streaming, as well as clean HDMI for regular live streaming. And this one also has 422 8-bit out. So some of the other ones, like my A6600, has 422 10-bit on the HDMI out. But not that you would probably understand any of what I just said jargon-wise, but just so you know. You'll hear other stuff, so just so you know. Alrighty. Let's see here. So hopefully that answers some questions, or if it adds some more questions, that's fine. Feel free to ask those as well. Because it's not, again, the biggest excitement that I have about the ZV-E10 is nothing to do with it being new. It's everything to do with it solving problems that I heartily have searched for across all the brands for my clients, customers, and audience. And for a time, that was Canon. And now it seems to be moving forward, it's going to be Sony. I personally will not switch, but that has nothing to do with my recommendations, because if Panasonic or Fuji will get their act together, I'm hoping Fuji sweetens up their autofocus a little bit more. They still have recording limits, but it would be another option that would be good to recommend. Nikon up there as well. And who knows what the hell is about to happen with Olympus, because they about to do a rebrand and some other stuff. So to be determined on that one. But it solves a lot of problems. Clean HDMI out for live streaming, unlimited recording. Oh, active digital stabilization. We got videos for days coming on this camera. Rach, good to see you. Glad that you're here. What goodies did you find in the camera that you haven't really, that you feel really haven't been talked about? The thing that people were mentioning is different issues in regards to the crop that you would see when it's doing the digital stabilization. So in the ZV-E10, you have where it's off, the digital stabilization is off, so there's nothing. When you go into standard, which is available that I found on lenses that have the optical steady shot, so it'll say OSS on the lens, on a Sony lens is the only ones that have those. So the 10-18, your kit lens, whatever. So in standard, from off to standard, no change. When you go into active, you do see a crop in so that it can stabilize the footage. What they don't talk about though, is that same thing that I'm finding in my use. As soon as I got this thing out the box, I already had batteries charged and ready to go. So I've been using this now for about a good solid 24 hours, almost nonstop. So in using this and already familiar with all the other Sony APS-C mirrorless bodies, even some of the full frame ones, it's similar to how I would use the ZV-1, where depending on the situation, most people think like you got to pick one or the other. You don't. So when you put a lens on, and like even if it's the kit lens or something, if you're just walking around, standard is fine. But if you're rushing, like for example, it's like, what are those shoes called? Crocs? And it's like, you'll see a bunch of stuff on TikTok and then somebody will like stitch it or something, and they'd be like, you should have put them Crocs in sport mode. You wouldn't have fell down the steps or something like that or whatever. You put the latch on the back of your foot or your ankle or whatever. So that's kind of how active is. Like you putting it in sport mode, you about to do some damage. When I'm going through the airport and I'm traveling and I'm doing something or whatever, I put the active on because I'm going into sport mode. I got a bag, I'm half asleep. You know, I just woke up and somebody's standing too close to you, or you trying to figure out where you need to go to get onto the shuttle bus so that you can go to the rental car thing and all this other, like you are gone. You're trying to make it, or you're going through airports and you're rushing to get to your next plane. Okay. In the ZV-1, I would just switch it to active because I don't know what I'm about to be doing. Sometimes it just is going, but the footage smooth as a boat. So it's really no different on this ZV-E10. So when I had the 1080 on here, so when you put this camera on the thing and you put it in the active and you're using a 10 millimeter, it's the same. It's no different. And it's still wide as hell. Okay, the 1018 is not cheap. Let's not get it twisted. It's $899. Maybe you can find it for $600, so about the same price as the camera. However, let me put y'all on a little bit of game real quick about something that's about to come out that has not been mentioned. If you are into these kinds of things, and I did some testing with this already, so pretty exciting potentially, allegedly. I'll put it that way. Let me put this in here real quick. Xiaomi ZV-10. So shout out to Ulanzi that I really, really like. And they got some Labor Day sales. So if you want to get some stuff, this will be the weekend to do this. Over on Ulanzi's website, and I will put this over in the chat. I don't have an affiliate link for them, so this is just the ugly link of 1,000 characters. But they're coming out with an L bracket similar to what you've seen me talk about in the ZV-1 accessories videos. You can, as far as I can see with this one, you can take this off, or should be able to take the handle part off if you don't want that portion here on this photo. You see those two little screws? So you should be able to take that handle portion off if you don't want that on there, and just get a little the L bracket portion on there to give you a cold shoe at the bottom if you need it. So for those of you that are looking for a cage, Ulanzi is the only company that I found that has any kind of anything. I'm waiting for a Small Rig to come out with one. They usually have a cage, but the A6400, 61, 66 cage, any of those brackets and stuff that Small Rig has currently doesn't fit. But let me bring your attention to this other thing that's not out yet, which is a wide angle adapter lens, specifically for the kit lens. On here, you'll see that little drive shaft thing or whatever, so that you can quickly zoom in and out the power zoom. This is the kit lens. Now, Sony used to have one for, or they not even used to, they do. And I have tested this out. I just never made a video on it because I didn't like the results. So it was like, what was the point? So this is the Sony 16 f2.8. This is back in the day when Sony was making their NEX series cameras, NEX 5, NEX 6, NEX 7, whatever. They have the 16 millimeter f2.8 and the 20 millimeter f2.8. They say the 20 millimeter is a little bit sharper, but it's kind of like a little bit better than a kit lens, honestly. But it's good if you want a pancake lens, so that's a thing. You still can use clear image zoom on these, but there's a wide angle adapter that can attach to these two lenses specifically that you can now use. So you go from 16 to essentially like a 12 millimeter. So now you're kind of rocking with something the equivalent of a 12 millimeter f2.8. This lens probably costs you about $150. Could be new. I think I got this maybe for like $100 used because it has like a little dent on the side or whatever. And it's like, I don't care. So give me the beater lens. Let me test it out or whatever. I've had this now for over a year or so. Not bad. Not bad. And you've already seen videos on it and never knew the difference. You saw a hunch of them, a whole bunch of them. I'm like, what am I even saying? A whole bunch of them last year. But it's heavy and it's big. Back to exhibit B. So the Ulanzi wide angle one here that they're talking about coming out with is actually going to be similar to the one that you saw in the ZV-1. And this is saying it's a 52 millimeter thread. Okay, well, I already have the one. So for example, I think what they're going to do here is the ZV-1 wide angle adapter, but the thread that is already kind of on there or whatever, it's already 52 millimeters. I think this is pretty much it. With a step up ring, or excuse me, step down ring, which I already have, to make it fit the kit lens, I need y'all to track along. It's a 40.5 millimeter thread. So it'll be from 52 millimeters to 40.5 millimeters. I did that yesterday. The results were very interesting. So to get around the cropping that you get when you're in sport mode, the active stabilization on the ZV-E10, you could get the wide angle adapters. Technically, I don't got no brand deal rocking with Ulanzi, so do what you do, but watch my shoes. So you can go to Amazon and get the wide angle adapter lens for the ZV-1, and it's probably gonna be the same thing. Maybe this one will be a little bit thinner, who knows? But you get this wide angle adapter lens and get some step down rings, and you can make it fit the same way you would do with an ND filter. And you still can get a wide angle lens. If y'all want to see that, we can do the rig really quickly in the office and I can show y'all what that looks like. But vlogging with it and then looking back at the footage, I'm like, well, I'll be. So essentially, if you don't want to get the 10 to 18 millimeter lens, which I love the lens. I held back on trying to get one for a while and then eventually pulled the trigger on it, and I've been pleasantly pleased. Now if you do this whole conjumbled mess I'm talking about with this wide angle adapter and what people are going to be doing soon here, if you do this, your kit lens will be a little bit heavier. It will look a little bit bulkier unless they make that one specifically thinner. But kind of like one of those things where it's like, who cares? For me personally, just to do this and like be done with it, and you can get the 10 to 18s used, maybe find them for $500 to $600, because some people are moving away from APS-C to full frame with the A7 IV, Sony A7 IV coming out soon. So people are going to get rid of their A6600s. They're going to get rid of their A61 and 6400s and sell their stuff in preparation to get the Sony A7 IV that comes out or should be announced. I think it's October, so next month. So the 1018 is an APS-C lens. It can fit on the other ones. You just need to put in APS-C mode. The point being, you should be able to find these for used and for cheaper than the $899 brand new. But this is just a lens I recommend getting. It's good. It's really, really good. But you can get around it if you want to do the poor man's 10 to 18 millimeter lens. You can get the wide angle with the Ulanzi Shindiggy, and I can show y'all what that looks like or whatever. Do I have anything around here? Because I did a video once before, and I'm so thankful I covered the mess that was behind me, because when I got up, I'm like, I did this whole daggone video and all this crap is behind me. So let me make sure I got no socks hanging around, because you know how we do when you at home. Make sure I ain't got no stuff. All right, we didn't clear the boxes and stuff. We should be fine. Okay, but if you want to see what it looks like for the wide angle thing, we can go through that real quick. All right. All right. Chat is on fire. Let's see here. Ikal, what are the hidden costs of owning a camera, maintenance, and cleaning? I'm glad that you asked. This is a video I've been thinking about doing for quite some time. It's not even that it's so much so hidden costs in maintenance. The hidden cost is in the assumption that you only need the camera, lens, a tripod, and a memory card. The true cost, I actually even have that in my notebook, like, again, because I said I was planning on doing a video about it. But it's like the true cost of owning a camera isn't so much so like the maintenance and having to do, and it's the understanding that, so like, yeah, literally the notes. Yeah, here we go. The notes. I literally already wrote the video idea out. So it's like understanding that what you don't need just like a microphone. Content creation now has evolved to the what you need into multiples. So the kind of microphone that you get and stuff is based on the kind of work and things that you're doing. Let's say you get the ZV-E10. Let's say you starting with the kit lens. Let's just start there. You're not done, because you need the adapter if you're going to get into the AC adapter if you're going to get into live streaming or long form content creation and recording. That's anywhere from, let's say you get anywhere from generic third party use to the branded stuff. So 25 to 140 bucks, maybe $100. You can find it cheaper. You get into now microphone options. It's not just get a shotgun microphone and then that's it. So you're not just rocking with this and then that's it. especially if you're talking about doing a podcast, you're doing Zoom calls and all this other stuff, because now you need a podcast style microphone. That's going to take you anywhere from $60 to maybe $250, $400 if you froggy, if you want to get something like the Shure SM7B. But now you're getting different environments. You keep hearing these little airplanes and stuff like that. That's why I invest in the things that I do. I can't help when the jets fly, but everything else gets blocked out. There'd be a ton of aerial noises and stuff, more than what just gets heard. But if I'm sitting back there, some of it ain't sound treated, or some environments that I go into or whatever, nonprofit space, whatever, use a lapel microphone or wireless kit because you get tired of being tethered. So then you get a wireless kit. So now you're looking at something like Rode Wireless Go 2s, even the Rode Wireless Go 1s, Comic Boom XDs. These run you for about, what are these, $200 or something like that? Maybe $250, $299, I think even. Because now you like, oh, I'm tired of being tethered. And you're tired of carrying around that country gosh darn Boya cable that's 1,000,000 miles long, and tired of bundling it up, tired of the battery and all the stuff. Ask me how I know, because that was one of the first lapels that I got. Because it's like, oh, it's only $20. Oh, it sounds pretty good. Then you get tired of the audio sounding weird. And you start asking questions of, why does it sound like that? Or why is it this? And why is it that? And then you realize that being cheap is now costing you in the quality that are things that you didn't know that you was paying for. Problems that you didn't know that you were paying for. So now you have a lapel and a shotgun and a podcast style microphone. So it's not just a microphone, but it's microphones based on the kind of things that you're doing. And now you need one to fill in the gap. Sure, you can wear a lapel for a podcast. Sure, you can do a shotgun and put it right here for a podcast or live stream. You can, but y'all know that country tacky stuff that people be doing get on your nerves at some point, and you yourself want your stuff to look a certain kind of way or be a certain kind of way after a point. Then you also get into lighting. Sure, you can use daylight, but now it's late and your wife fixed dinner, it was a great day, and the kids are asleep, and now you figure, well, I need to go record a video. What lights you gonna use? These up here? Just in the ceiling light that ain't even on in this video? Praise God, because it's gonna look a mess? Yeah, no. Because now you realize why I got raccoon eyes, or why I look like I got these big old black things on my eyes, because you're using the ceiling light and it's behind you instead of in front of you. So now your stuff look weird, or now you think something wrong with the camera. I'm going through the whole rundown because I'm on one right now. And these are the legit hidden costs kind of deals, because it's the progressiveness of doing the work that you do that now leads you into finding problems and now trying to solve these problems, which could have been avoided if you just bought the right stuff the first time. So now you need lighting. You see a $60 softbox kit, you go for the gold. Now they big as hell and you get tired of looking at them, or some of them make that, you get tired of hearing that, because now that's introducing it into the audio, and you think you need a new microphone because it's now stuff, you know, this stuff happens, or the fan noise from your laptop. And you're like, well, I don't want the fan to make no problem. Well, do you want your computer to overheat and blow up? Ask Samsung about it. So from back in the day, it's a normal function of the computer. But these things just progressively, you grow into the cheap thing that you thought was cool ain't gonna work. You'll find out this stuff for yourself. Then you get into accessories, and that's gonna be based on the kind of stuff that you're doing. I'm not gonna go through the whole thing. But you go into accessories and things like that, or different lens options and things that you need, because they simplify or make the process of you recording more efficient. Cables and stuff, data capable cables that are good XLR cables. If you use an XLR microphone, something like the Rodecaster Pro, it's $600. You know, good XLR cables could be $40, $50. I remember I went out of town and did something like the HDMI cable that I needed was like $70, $75 for a cable. We got like 5 of them. You know what I'm saying? So, and I brought 3. So it's not necessarily any hidden costs per se, and like they're hidden from you. It's just that you're unaware of what you're doing and how this is going to impact the quality, not necessarily like the look of it, but what it is for you to sit down. What you don't see is when I sit down to do a video, how quickly I can just come in here, sit down and do it. I know these Sony cameras like the back of my hand. When I got this camera in the mail, used it, tried it out, got some footage, did some battery tests, sit down, sit, record, push the microphone away, and go eat some freaking cookies. Go eat lunch. Go watch Bleach and some anime that I'm rewatching and having a good time. And then come back in here and work. Somebody asks a question, it's as simple as pulling the mic. Whereas before, it's complex as hell because you got to nitpick and piece on all. You wasting your own time and spinning your own wheels. That's the stuff that you don't see early on, that you don't have to see now with more experienced creators because we passed it. We've invested things. It's not about spending a certain amount of money, but it's about building a system. And that's what you miss. You buy stuff and you don't buy a system. Efficient creators buy systems. So I'm not just buying a microphone. I buy an audio system that is going to work no matter what I'm doing. I don't just buy a camera. I buy a system of things that are going to work. Even though I already got the A64 and 66 that fit the ZV-E10, there's not any more new lenses that I need to get. There's not any more new batteries and stuff that I need to get. But I'm thinking, what's the system of use for the how I plan to use this camera? Do I need any more quick release plates? No, because I already had some, knowing that I would get this camera. Do I need any more USB-C cables that are data capable and quick? No, because I already had ordered some months ago, knowing that the next cameras that I get will probably be USB-C. So that's, you know, you don't need to clean the sensor that often or do anything that often with your stuff. Memory cards, you're going to buy those, a good creator, every year. So when a bad one goes or the little lock symbol thing gets weak, you toss it and you don't think twice about it. You got your money's worth out of it. Toss it and you move on. Or it gets used for something that's non-essential. So hopefully that helps you to, you all to be a little bit more educated there when it comes to that kind of stuff. But I love that question. What camera are you planning on using as your A camera? A66, ZV-E10, at what focal length? Your Sigma f1.4. Every camera has a job with, so as a video educator, every camera, every piece of gear that I invest in has a job to do. The A6400 is assigned for live streaming. The A6600 is assigned for whatever the hell I need to do in this office, including maybe if I need to travel or something like that, I need my, you know, hammer to come with me. The ZV-1 designated for travel, top down shots, things that I need like over the shoulder stuff or whatever, B-roll, testing. I got an overhead thing over here that's set up because it's small, it's lightweight, the lens is already built in. You can do the USB live streaming, so there's a cable that stays connected to the computer if I ever need to do that. It is so mobile that in the office, it flies. When I'm traveling, throw it in the pocket, don't think about it. Lens is baked in, battery life is fine, USB charging, I'm good. 4K 30, like the quality and stuff, it won't look no different than my A66. So this one flies. As far as the ZV-E10, for the next month or so, this will be, I won't say replacing, but I will use it in place of the A6600 just to get more use out of it and to fully put it through its paces. Anytime I buy a new camera, the first 30 days, that's all that I'm ever using. I don't care what I have. But as an educator, because I'll be teaching from it, of course, I'll be using it. And the same is true for any other cameras. It's not that they'll be in my main use or lineup in that way. But again, if I'm educating people and I got to know how to use it in and out. So it's already at the point now where it's like, obviously I'll have way more cameras than what I'll need for my use. But the A64 designated for live streaming stuff. A66 is the hammer, ZV-1 flies, and every other camera after that, education at that point. So it's something I grew into, and I'm like, moving one camera or constantly doing what it's like, the hell with that. When you can record everything at once, take the memory cards, dump that footage, upload it, send it to the editor, and out comes the finished product. Memory cards get clear, and you can we are creating at a lightning speed. I think we have 8 videos ready in the can, like not ready, edited, but 8 videos done, and a few that are like preloaded already. They're good to go. We have a lot of content, and that's not anything to do with the social media stuff either. So yeah, when you start getting into it, you get into it. Can you record internally while live streaming on a ZV-E10? I was about to say just yes, just for the sake of saying yes, because I know Sony's can, because the ZV-1 can. I haven't tried it, but I can real quick. So, oh, I didn't unplug the thing. I'm going to say that the preliminary answer is yes. Let's get a memory card in here. I just didn't try it yesterday. Uh-oh. All right, let's go. I tell you one thing I don't like is the plastic doors. I wish they had did it the same way they did the ZV-1 with the rubber hinge ones, so they can flip back. Cause I got a feeling y'all gonna break that. I'm not gonna break it. Y'all gonna break it. So, all right. So we are officially. Let's see here. All right. Just so y'all know what we looking at. Footage right there, right? Inception mode. Camera's currently recording. Now, you can't see that, but I'll show you in just a second. But yes, you can. So I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. From the, what's the name of? So let's put this down and we'll switch over. But so the answer is yes, which I didn't have any doubt because the ZV-1s can. But just an FYI there. Alrighty. A lot of things on the desk here. Feels like how many tabs I have open on the in the internet. Just saying. All right. Goodness me, Mabel. I should have took the gear off my desk. Lesson learned. Take the gear off your desk before you stream. All right, let's go into the menu. Change it so you can see the icons. And then go over here to the ZV-1. Okay. All right, so I just put the lens cap on so you're not staring into a light. So this is streaming currently because that's how you're seeing it. And then I press the record button and now you can see the red ring or framing around it for it to do what it does. So yes, you can record internally and live stream at the same time in the ZV-E10. So there's your question there. So great one, great one. Also, do you plan on using multicam in your live streams? No. I get it. Some people have a really nice decked out studio or whatever. This is an office. I don't know if y'all just want to look at the bookshelf or what, but it's like that's the best you're gonna get. No, I don't plan to do where it's like multiple. You want to see my feet up under the desk? I don't know. Like, what can I show you? Like, it's just not that. If I need a top down shot, I set up for a top down shot on that day, but that's rare and far and few and in between. I almost don't ever need it. It's just not the kind of live streams that I do. And I'm not finna keep switching between what I look at, and I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. Merry Christmas, but I'm not doing it. God bless those that do, but I ain't. Didn't Fuji just come out with something? Yeah, they made an announcement yesterday. Fuji came out with the Fuji X-T30 Mark II. Now, the X-T30 Mark I was really nice, but the only reason why, like, I didn't talk about it, because I don't know what it looks like. They did a GFX 50, like their medium format camera, also got announced, and some lenses by Fuji, but we don't have any X-T30 Mark II footage of the camera. Usually B&H, you'll see DP Review TV will have some stuff out there. They'll send it to other Fuji enthusiasts that use the camera, but we saw nothing. B&H has it available on their site, but they don't have footage. Like, it's fine photos, negligible for quality in the photos and stuff. But yeah, they did actually come out with this camera yesterday. And so I actually really like Fuji. I even like some of the stuff that Nikon is doing if they get their gosh darn screen orientation together. Autofocus. Fuji's, I'm waiting to see if the autofocus is going to be good. They've been known to do firmware updates regularly and add new features and stuff. I like what I see when it comes to Fuji and stuff like that. I do hate the top dial situation there. I'm just not a fan of it for a camera I intend to use for video, but they actually do make good stuff. They are updating their lenses for them to be more linear motor, so they are good for video. But most of the time it's a screen orientation issue, or rather, sometimes they have weird recording limits. The video specs though are kind of bananas when you get into these Fuji cameras though. So this one, if we go down to the video stuff, it has 4K 30 frames per second up to 200 megabits per second, DCI, and then you have your regular one for UHD or ultra high definition, up to 4K 30. You also have 2K in the camera, so 2K 60, which is really cool, 200 megabits per second, 1080p up to, that's interesting. I was about to say 1080p 60, and then, so what is this one here? They got 2 full HDs. I think this first one, maybe that's I don't know what they're doing with that one, why they got 2 listed, but 1080p. Oh, only 120 is at 100. Okay, I get you. Alrighty, that's fine. So 1080p up to 120 frames per second, 200 megabits per second. That's fine. But 422 10-bit external recording. So those are really great. Fuji does a great job at that. But again, this is the concern that I've always had with these cameras. What the hell am I going to do at 10 minutes with the kind of stuff that I make? 10 minutes for 4K stuff, like, no. 15 minutes for the 2K and 15 minutes for 1080. Like, what the hell am I going to do with that? Seriously, I get it if you are vlogging because you're recording in spurts. So maybe in 6 to 8 minutes at the longest, maybe variations, whatever. But there is nothing that I'm doing for 10 minutes. Like, I don't even read for that short amount of time. Like, so the great benefits of all of this fantasticness in this camera body, for them to go up to 1080p 120 frames per second, 2K 60 and 4K 30, again 422 10-bit externally, really nice, and is always something I praise Fuji for a lot. They do a great job, even getting a headphone port out of the USB-C, which is something that they did with the original XT30 that I always really enjoyed. I really like Fuji, I really do. But I just, like, it was between Sony and Fuji, and I was like, if Nikon can come in there and like get a home run or kind of get their stuff together, cool. Because it was up in the air. And I was like, okay, I was very hesitant to move to Sony. But then I'm like, okay, I found a home with the kind of cameras and stuff that they make, and it's just really suited me well. It was a great move for me personally. But it makes it hard to just be stuck into like either just Canon or Sony recommendations, because there are a lot of great cameras out there. There really are. But if they insist on, and then the door is closed. Yeah, we just don't have no footage on this. And for $1,200 for 10-minute recording, my answer to that, my good sir, is hell no. So for that, so I love putting my Crocs in a sport mode. Oh my goodness. Still using my iPhone 12 Pro Max. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. You're good to go, my dear. Let's not get it twisted. I don't use a phone in that way. I do not prefer it. I do not like it. It's just not how I personally operate. But there is plenty of footage out there. It does take some skill. Not gonna lie to you. It does take some skill with doing that. Let's go. What is it? What's iPhone 12 Pro Max for video? There's a lot of great videos out there that I have seen that actually do a good job, but what goes into that is their skill with it. Because if you or I just randomly pick the camera up and it's not gonna look like that. So you have a lot of videos that are here on YouTube about, like Potato Chat, he does a good job of trying to, get it pretty good. You have all this extra other stuff. Peter Walbeck is a great filmmaker. Does a lot of great content. Matty Haponi or Matty Hapoya, more accurately. A lot of great stuff. 6,000 camera versus but you know what's good about Matty? His quality is consistent because of his skill. you know what I'm saying? Some people can take a flat basketball and win a championship. Some of us can't accurately kick it down the street, right? So again, skill does make up a difference. So you'd have to learn something like Filmic Pro. That's great, you know, whatever. Potato Jet, he does a good job, I think, again, of just like, here's what it can do, but then here's what the average person's stuff may look like, and here's some things that you can do. I love his content for what he does when he is doing that. So I'd say check out Potato Jet. That, hold on, we don't need your audio. So I would say check out Potato Jet's video on that specifically, and just see, you know, what advice or whatever he may give that may be helpful. But for me, it just has always worked better to invest in a dedicated tool for video, because if I'm traveling in GPS and blah, 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 I need my phone so I know where the heck I'm going, or I'm talking on the phone or whatever. I also can't document and record at the same time. And I'm not going to get a second phone to do that. So, and I've tried it. The Google Pixel phones look fantastic. The cameras are freaking phenomenal. It's just not for me at the end of the day. Let's see here. Kirk, what's going on, brother? Good to see you. So, my God. Saying clip it. 100%. Saying we buy systems. That's a t-shirt. Yes. So you need to buy a system. 100%. Said I've been here the whole time, just was quiet, had to start typing. I was just going Bishop Kirk, good to see you. Saying good to see you, fam. Oh, you're talking to Kirk, you ain't even talking to me. Saying, what about your M50? So the M50 broke in 2019, which made me make a decision, because I wasn't finna get it repaired. That would have been twice now that I'm sending this camera to get repaired, courtesy of the freaking Joby GorillaPod legs that break all the gosh darn time. For certain models, I'll say. But it's like it fell off a table when I was out of town. And I was like, you just finna stay broke. And so if you touch it, like you grip the camera or whatever, it would just start recording. So I'm like, fine, whatever. I'll use you for the moment. But it broke to where it was like the record button was sensitive, uber sensitive. I don't use that camera. I don't have that camera any longer. I've been using Sony since 2019, summer 2019. So, I mean, to that I say, what about it? Because I don't use it. At best is like where you see them shells back there. Some older, not older lenses, but, well, yeah, a couple of them are older. But that's about it. You know, so it served me well, and I'm grateful for it. But I wind up giving that broken camera to my nephew. So he got all the M50 stuff or whatever and does nothing with it. So, but for me, if I still had it, it would be on the shelf as a nice piece to look at. That's about it. I wouldn't even get it repaired because it would cost as much to buy one as it would to get it repaired. And for the features and stuff, again, it did me well for where I was at. What was it? Transitioning from Panasonic at the time. It's like, cool. Good camera. I can create, sit down, boom, boom, boom. We're good to go. Quality started to take a hit. And that was before the Sigma lenses came out that kind of gave some new and fresh breath to it. But yeah, I need to have stuff that works. And I was also getting to a point with the unlimited recording. Ecamm Live is freaking fantastic. But I also don't only want to be tethered to a computer for live streaming. Because you think about stuff like the Sony Xperia. Is it the Xperia Pro or One cameras or whatever? And I'm sure it'd be some other ones because Samsung's never too far behind or whatever. Even iPhone at times. You can live stream from your phone and stuff. Put your phone on your camera, HDMI, you're good. The M50 Mark II, it can do that. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, so we're getting to the point to where things are changing. I kind of can see where stuff was going in the market. And I'm like, it just didn't make sense to stay with Canon. So the M50 is been history since 2019. Saying thanks, Dan, my pleasure. Did we miss the announcement? Yeah. We gave away 12 Sony ZV-E10s. You missed it. It's great. Everybody in the chat got one that was early. No, I'm just kidding. But yes, you did miss it. We'll go back through it if you guys want to in a second here, just to recap. Well, I guess since we're on it, and then I'll pick back up from the comments. So those of you that missed the announcement, we're launching a course called Mastering Micro Live. This course is all about helping you to create better content, creating a strategy around what you're doing. So even if you have a small audience, that you can leverage that using whatever social media platform that makes the most sense for where your people are. So if that's something that you want to check out, moderators that are still in the chat can link you over to this page, which is masteringmicro.live, and you can check that out. So we played the video earlier today on the stream, but that one is also available on the page as well. Pricing right now is for the launch price, and this will go up shortly. So launch price is not going to be like this for forever. So if you're interested, you can enroll today and be good to go. We're starting on September the 20th is our start day for day 1 of the course. And we got a lot of stuff planned. So all the details, course layout, and some other stuff is down here. If you're in the course breakdown, that'll go through some of the stuff that you will get inside this course. And then it will be available. Only thing right now is that we'll have live trainings and sessions that will be available during this initial launch. But once it goes up to the website and it's just something that you can purchase, for sure the price will be higher, and there will not be any live access trainings and things like that available moving forward at that time. So right now we're doing this, and it'll be launching officially the day 1 that we're all going to be starting on this is September the 20th. But you can enroll in this today, again, for that early bird access pricing. So that's what the announcement was, in case you missed it. Hashtag keeping it real always. And saying recording limits are crazy limit. Yeah, it's the only thing with the Fuji. People be like, yeah, but what about, or all you got to do is, if every time you're saying something, when you're looking to invest, it's like that's more of a justification for a limiting belief somewhere. It truly is, if you really think about it. All you got to do is, that means you don't have it, and I got to think of a workaround. And the problem is when you're trying to build a system around what you're doing, or you get an idea and you're trying to execute now, what does it take to get from idea to execution? It's problematic. And I don't know how much people value their time. I know how much I value my time. And if an investment is too, and cheap is not like a pricing thing, it's more so the mindset and the reason why you buy something cheaper. Because you can find good budget friendly stuff all the time. They're great finds. This Manfrotto Pixie, it's a freaking it's like, what is it, like $20, $30 or something like that? Technically cheap in price, fantastic in quality. I didn't even like their other one that they had, the red one or whatever that I got. Don't like it. Ulanzi Quick Clock that I use for my clamps, amazing. What, $30 or something? Fantastic. Price wise, relatively cheap. But it has nothing to do with the quality of the thing or the why, that you buy it or whatever. So, if you're into the camp, well, all you got to do is, all I got to, no. You're limiting yourself. And at that point, it takes money out of your pocket or the potential to make money at a certain price point and do certain things because you're always working underneath that limitation. In the early days, that may be okay for a time. But I can tell you this, I never would have got the opportunity, and stuff I believe would have went tremendously different if when I got the opportunity, it was in what was this? It wasn't August, because I don't think it was my birthday yet. But whatever it was in 2019 when they had Grow with Video Live. And I remember we was on a conference call. And Sean asked, he was like, oh, you want to do the recording for it, whatever. I'm like, I mean, I can. I'm thinking like I can help y'all, help you with it. But I was like, I don't think I can pull that out by myself. He's like, oh, you can do it. And I'm like, I'm thinking still in my head, like, with help though, like I'm like, I don't want you to believe too highly in thine skills or ability. I'm like, it's like he's like, you use Sony, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, are you familiar with it? Yes. Because when I get my camera, the first 30 days, I'm in there like swimwear. I'm literally using that thing every single day. So the transition from Canon to Sony was not hard. The menu system change was not hard. They're built the exact same way. Okay, good with using it. Filmed that 2019 event because I knew how to use Sony. If I was still operating under a belief, well, all you got to do is, that stuff would have never happened. Maybe would have participated or helped out or whatever. I ran that whole thing, like the recording of it. I'm just like, it, still was mind-blowing experience for me, because again, it's just like, I'm glad I made good decisions a while ago. And you know what I'm saying? That leads you into better opportunities, and every opportunity leads to a better opportunity. Bad opportunities lead to worse opportunities. It just, like attracts like, and that's true with the gear and the stuff. Cause it's like, you get an opportunity to do something. It's like, oh, you know how to use such and such. It's like, nah. Oh, okay. Well, maybe next time. You get a maybe next time. It's like, it ain't happening. What's your current setup for the stream? Sony camera lenses combo. So that's linked in the description. This is using the Sony a6400, Sony 35mm f1.8 lens, Elgato cam links, eCam live for the live stream. So what you're looking at is this fantabulous butte right here. This is what I use to do the live streams, to move the comments all around and things like that. And even when you saw me earlier, just looking for that line, it's that center line and stuff there, stuff like that. Even when I want to do a favorites, when I was like, okay, I'm going through the other content or whatever, and I'm like, oh, that's a good one. I'll come back to that later. I can star that comment, come back to it, even change comments on the fly. If anybody says something surly about dark chocolate, I can just change it in a whip, in a jiffy. So that's what I use. Shure SM7B, Elgato LP arm, Rodecaster Pro. Merry Christmas to you. What is the repair process for the pay? I can tell you what it was for Canon. I've never had to do this with Sony, thank God. But what it was for the repair process with Canon was pay for shipping. This is if you bought used, which I did. So my camera did not have the warranty. Maybe that process is different. I don't know. I can tell you what it is if you buy a camera used or it's beyond the warranty now. So you go to their website, you list out what's wrong and things like that. They'll get back to you with an estimated price. If you want to proceed, for them to look at it, to identify, well, actually they can give you a range. They won't give you an estimated price per se, but they'll give you a range roughly. We usually say maybe between $200 and $500 or whatever. We'll let you know when we take a look at it. You pay shipping to send it to them. It takes them maybe roughly a week, or at the time it did, roughly a week to look at the camera. And then at that point, they send you back a price of what it will cost to fix it. You got like 7 or so days or something to make a decision, maybe like 7 to 14 days. They'll hold it and they'll ask you, do you want to do you want to send the money and we'll repair it and then we can send it back to you, or no? So if you say no, they say cool and they send it back to you. You pay. Now they begin the process to repair it. It only still took them maybe about a week or so. You get confirmation that the shipping is coming and stuff, and your camera gets returned to you at that point. And so Canon had a great process I thought they were exceptionally quick with it. You think this stuff's going to take months, maybe even like 1 or 2. So in a couple weeks, I was back, boom, out of there. So the repair process was really nice. I don't know what it's like right now, but even if the time frames are longer, I will say that it was not hard. But I'm like, you're used to some companies maybe like paying for it. They like, nah, you pay to send it to us, and then you're gonna pay us to fix it, and then we'll send it back to you. When we figure out what's wrong, and then we give you an estimated price, we can put it back together and send it to you if you don't want it fixed or whatever. So they were very nice and easy to work with. So it was a pleasant process. I would imagine some of these other brands are similar. I don't know, maybe you always want to find a horror story about something, but I would say most of them are relatively easy. I've seen a lot of people also work with Sony, like when they're going to events. Sony will set up a booth, you get your camera cleaned for free or whatever, for certain things. So I would imagine it's maybe like the same process. Saying, do you need my address? First of all, no. And second of all, no. YouTube is the best platform in the whole wide world. I 100% agree with that. What is going on, Simply? Always good to see you. Glad that you're here. Saying this is great news. Congrats, DG and the team. I thank you so much. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Saying you just got to dive in and do it. And falling is a part of the process. Just start swimming. 100%. I think that's something that not having like some of those memories as a kid might be so we aren't as traumatic and, you know, or traumatized for certain things. But if we were counting how many times like we failed, like in the whole walking thing, it's been used so many times, people don't get it. But it's like you literally carry a ton of weight on your feet and your knees and your legs and your muscles that you built and developed and you grew and you just dealt with it. Or like when we wanted to ride a bike, you chose to ride a bike. And you also chose with that decision, scraped knees and all. Because I would say just about all of us that grew up, you 80s, 90s kids maybe, but for sure like 80s on back, like you scraped, scarred knees or whatever, like it was a story to tell that was laughable, whatever it was, or was something. But it's like, yeah, what's that big old patch on you? It's like, oh man, you never believe, like it's a whole adventure behind the scrapes and knees that we had. Now we so sensitive and soft as adults. You're like, oh, people are going to talk about me. Oh my good golly gumdrops. What am I going to do? It's like, we're afraid to scrape our knees now, you know, or afraid to like get a bruise, a little digital bruise. You don't even get punched around here. Like, it's just like, it's social media, it's online. It's like you can do tremendous things to change your life if you're willing to accept the scrapes that come with it that are just digital. And mostly, sometimes it's most of the challenge that people face are sensitivities that are based around your mindset and the building and developing of those, and they're uncomfortable. And it's okay to be uncomfortable, but it is not okay to stay in discomfort. But if you're going to stay in discomfort, don't complain about it, because that's also a choice. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, out here in these streets. What's going on? Lil Dias? Is that right? I'm sorry. Correct me on how to say your channel name there, but good to see you. Glad that you're here. Rach saying, thank you, my pleasure. Saying Sony cameras are expensive. I've looked and researched them all. Actually, they're not expensive. They are properly priced, but I will definitely say the lenses are something to throw your eye at, because now it used to be, and I'm not gonna lie, same thing. It's like, why is it 10-18, for example, when I looked at the Canon 10-18, I think it's like $350, and even still at the time, I'm like, that's a lot of money. Okay, now it's like you look at the 10-18 on the Sony, it's like $899. I'm like, is that coming with lawn service and freaking Molly maids or somebody, you know, kind of a deal? And you're like, why is it that thing? And you got to look at quality of the glass and stuff like that. Also, so it is a little bit of a premium. Let's not get it twisted. It's a little bit of a premium when you're using premium stuff. The same way, you know, which is why I was so averse for a time going to Apple products. I'm like, man, but it's like, no, because you don't have to replace that stuff. I can't tell you how many PCs that just like float around because they would just crash, break, or whatever. It's like, I'm sick of this. I'm sick of buying antivirus software. I'm sick of freaking keys flying off under gentle use, or they just, I don't even know what the hell happens to PCs, but they just all go out. And it's just like, I'm sick of it. Never had an issue with my Mac. And since 2018, I switched, never had an issue. Not that you can't, but I'm just saying comparative to the two. So similar to like that Sony Premium. Now, again, this is another reason why I was very excited for this camera to come out, because this solves a lot of problems. It's $699. You can get a kit lens cheaper. $699. Super lightweight. Batteries you can find relatively cheaply. And you're off to the races. So the lenses that you want probably are a premium, but honestly, it's not no more. And it hasn't been for a while. And the other thing though too, cheap cameras get expensive because they cost you in your time and the stuff that you got to do around it. That's the difference. That's again one of them hidden secrets nobody talks about. Yeah, you can get a camera for, people ask me all the time, what camera can I buy for $400? You can go get you some accessories to start getting you ready for video, like some lights, a good microphone, and some stuff like that. Maybe get your cables together, memory cards, maybe stuff like that. Get your tripod. You don't need to be talking about no camera at $400. You should go a little bit further, go the distance, okay, as Hercules would say. Go to distance. Go to 600 and 700 now. Again, like I said, ZVE10 is out, and get you a phenomenal camera for $699. You go to Facebook Marketplace, you get kit lenses all day. Look for a Sony NEX, Nathan, Edward, Xavier. You can tell I wasn't in the military. It was like Nancy, Alpha, X-ray, whatever. NEX. What did I say? Alpha? Gosh, no. What was it? Okay. Whoever is in the military, help me. What is it? Nancy? Or no. Would it be? It wouldn't be Nancy. What would it be in the military? I have no idea, but it's NEX. Go to Sony NEX on search that on the Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Craigslist even, and stuff like that, if that's still safe. And you can buy Sony NEX cameras, and they will still have the lenses on there. And so I don't really like eBay, but you can take a chance if you want. eBay's cool as long as you know the rules of the road. But you can go to Facebook and search on the Facebook Marketplace for Sony NEX cameras. I'm not going to do that because that's a whole rabbit trail. Because I was like, let's go to Facebook. Sony NEX cameras, you can get kit lenses to 18 to 55, which is the f3.5 to f5.6. Same variable, a little bit tighter than the 15, whatever it is for the kit lens for the Sony. You can find those all day. So sometimes you can get a deal by getting and looking for the very old E-mount, still fits. Again, that Sony One mount is legit. Still get an older Sony camera that uses the E-mount and get a lens. You'll see the 16 millimeter that I talked about earlier. You see these on Sony NEX cameras a lot. You'll see some older Sigma 19 and 30 millimeter f2 or f2.8 lenses, I believe, out there. Those are really small ones, round, really smooth. I wonder if they still have them while I'm on B&H. I might could show you those. Sigma, Sony E-mount, 19 millimeters, I think was the one. They might be on Amazon somewhere. Well, B&H don't play about their inventory. Let's go to Amazon. That will sell you your own left shoe for $3 more than what you purchased it for. So let's go over here. So it's these. These were the older Sony lenses, and I want to try some of these still for myself just to see. It's some stuff that I didn't like initially, which is why I never messed with them. But I'm willing to take a look at them. But they came out before. They came out with the Sigma 16, 30, and all that stuff. They had the Sigma 19, the Sigma 30 that were for the NEX. It's still the E-mount. The autofocusing motors just in these, though, are slower. So you'll find these a little bit cheaper. But you can find these attached to NEX cameras all day long. So you can find these. This like the Sigma 19 millimeter, and this like the older version, the one with the ridges, I believe. The one with the newer one, it's pretty much the same. But you got other brands like the Sigma 16. You'll find a lot of brands actually that do Sony lenses right. Tamron is another good brand, but it's 56. Nah. Yongnuo got some lens. I actually liked Yongnuo for what it's worth. And they have some that it's a lot of brands out there, third-party brands that do Sony lenses, and they're not too bad. So what we got here? 25 millimeter f1.7 lens here for $115. 35 f2 for $278. Let's take a look see at this in Hessen. That's for Panasonic and Olympus. Well, ain't you no good? So those are micro four thirds, so that's not gonna help us. But usually if they make them for one, they make them for all, more or less. But the name of the game for you might be used. And used lenses are such higher quality than you would think because people don't play around with their glass. They just don't. I know they got some on here, and it's another one. What's that? It start with like an R or something like that. I don't know. But I had a video planned. I need to go through the other lenses on that list to verify pricing and stuff. But there's some other ones because I know that's a concern that a lot of people have is about pricing. The ones that you want are probably expensive, but is there something slightly cheaper cheaper in price but not that much worse in quality? It's like you probably can get away with some of these other ones. Rokinon, that's what it was. Rokinon, Rokinon. Sony lens. So if we go to Rokinon, they have some that are autofocus. I always go for lenses that have the autofocus in there. These Sony cameras now have eye autofocus and face tracking. That's insane. Rokinon is another brand that makes some. Samyang as well. It's like a sister company. Rokinon are kind of one and the same. So you got that. You can also adapt lenses if you're really about that life. Get you some Sony lenses, not Sony lenses, Canon lenses. Buy an adapter and put it on the Sony camera if you want to. So there's ways around it. It's just, This is that white chocolate for the win, of course. Y'all in this dark chocolate business, y'all need deliverance. This is what you need. You need deliverance. Ain't nobody checking for no gosh darn. It's just like, no. Who wants it? No, it's disgusting. It's disgusting. Think and Grow Rich. Powerful. Everything is energy. 100%. Saying, so graphics tutorials. What's the one tip you give someone who wants to start creating content but keeps procrastinating? Decide if you want to do it or don't, and stop wasting your time. That's what I would honestly say, because procrastination is either going to reveal to you that you really don't want to do it, or it's going to reveal to you a fear or belief system that you really need to address, because it ain't even about the videos at that point. You probably do that same behavior, not you specifically, but I would say like you probably do that same stuff someplace else. You probably don't go for the job promotion that you want because you think you're not good enough. And the deep-seated issue there has nothing to do with how to set up a YouTube channel, or you don't know what lenses go with what camera, or you don't know what these numbers mean on the memory card. All that just becomes BS issues, which essentially are belief system problems. So most of the time, the procrastination is going to reveal to you something. So if I'm procrastinating about something, I gotta think about it. Even like, so let's be transparent for a second. And I hate the word like being transparent, like I'm not ever on any other time, but let me share and open up to you about creating this course, right? So we're launching this Mastering Micro course. For a few days, even like yesterday, I'm sitting around here. I got this whole ritual, okay? I'm slapping myself on the chest. I'm like, God did not give me the spirit of fear. I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And I'm like, I'm finna get this gosh darn thing done. I'm gonna do it, because until I say something, you don't know what the hell is coming. I could say the camera came in the mail and lie and be done with it and just be like, I ain't got to tell him. I don't got to tell him. I don't have to do it. Every new thing that I do that is something different or a different level or whatever, or it's like, this is big to me. Like the Being a Creator series, something that's big to me, something that's like important to me. It's like, it's a passion project, if you will. But it's also something that I know that'd be super beneficial for other creators. When I'm having a hesitancy or a problem around, so I'm like, okay, it's like, we know the struggle it has been and the work that has been required to get to where I am now. And I also know the who I am now has to do different internal work to get to the next stage, and so on and so forth, because it's always another mountain to climb. Well, this is another mountain to climb. Hiring a team was another mountain to climb. Addressing and dealing with issues that come with building a company are other mountains to climb. And at different times it gets frustrating, and it reveals a concern or even a fear that I have about something. And I'm like, you are not finna punk me. I'm real old school with it. So it may be offensive to some people, but I'm fine if that steps on your toes, because in the words of Charles Cap, God will hear your toes. So, but it's like, what is the problem? I will literally be driving and be like, you are not some punk that is just finna sit around and not do this because you are uncomfortable in the moment. This is not you. This is not real. There's nothing to be afraid of. And if it is, I'm going to address it. And I'll be like, what is the problem here? Are you afraid that you're going to fail? Are you afraid that people are going to say this is stupid? Like, what is the thing? And I will go through the list of stuff that I think until I keep going layers deep until I find what the hell the problem is. And sometimes it may be a fear that really has nothing to do with that thing at the moment. It has everything to do with something from the past that was completely unrelated. Could have been like the time I failed the spelling bee because of some gosh darn word that I'm like, I don't care when I said it. To say it in a sentence, give me the definition, sound it out for me. I don't use the letter, people. I could not figure it out. I've never forgotten that failure. So if it literally, let's say, is that example from failing the spelling bee and feeling like a failure in front of all of these people, and that's the reason why, because I'm going to put something else out there, then I'm just like, you are not that little gosh darn kid in elementary school that failed at one word. And the fact that you learn the word and you use it constantly, I don't even remember what the word is, but I'm just using that as an example. But it's like, they're like, no, enough with that. And like, enough with this. Guess what? It's worth it to fail at the new thing to figure out the next thing. It's worth it. But if it's not worth it, then stop with the dramatics. Internal self-talk that you can give yourself. If it's worth it to fail to get to the next step. If it's not worth it, stop with the dramatics. You don't have a procrastination problem. You don't have a consistency problem. You just don't want to do it for real. And maybe you said it once and you feel you got to acknowledge it or stay holding to that. You have a right to change your mind. Change it if you want to. But if you're serious about the thing that you want, get the damn thing done. And Merry Christmas to you. That's what I would say. The procrastination stuff is always going to reveal something. It always is. Always. Go layers deep. Don't just think the topical emotions and thoughts. Think on these things, the Bible says. So go layers deep. Ponder. Meditate. Just not too long. Do it with the intent to actually uncover the problem. When I wanted to shave my hair, and then I'll get off of this and we'll go through the comments and wrap this up. But when I wanted to shave my hair, this is something that happened to me. What was this? February 2019? I cut it on February 1st, 2019. Shaved it all off. And so my hair is about as long as it is now. Could be a little bit short, a little bit longer, whatever. But it was all relaxed. For the longest time, I wanted to grow my hair out naturally. But because of being in corporate America, I assumed, and because of the environment and the internal talks and stuff I would hear, I'm like, it's not culturally acceptable in the company or whatever, or people are going to look at me in such a way I may miss opportunities or whatever. I'm just like, whatever. This is from 2016. I had that thought. I made the decision. I kept my hair relaxed or whatever. Well, now I've evolved and changed over these next several years, because that comes after literally almost dying on the gosh darn operating table in days before with this freaking endometriosis stuff that's freaking rotting my damn organs. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's ridiculous. And so now it's like you wake up from that experience and I'm like, I'm different. I'm a different person. We ain't about that life no more. See a girl that I sit next to and I'm like, man, your natural hair is beautiful, curly and all this extra other stuff. Look like she got soul glow in it, right? And I'm like, man, I wish I could do it. And she was like, why don't you? And she was like, just go natural. And I'm like, she was like, why not? Like, what's stopping you? Until she said something to me, I had never revisited that old fear and frustration that I had around cutting my hair. Something so simple. And I'm like, I don't have those same belief systems anymore, but I had that same memory of the belief system that was old. And because my memory held on to that, I didn't have the same belief system, but my memory is just recounting what's in the file system. So I'm repeating the memory, not speaking from how I actually feel. And it wasn't until she asked me that, and I decided that day when I would get off work, which was February 1st, 2019, I'm gonna go shave all my damn hair off and start this journey to actually having natural hair, to get to the version of the me I see in myself, because that's authentically me. The best decision I ever made. And unlock to whole other stuff, because I'm like, what other thoughts and things am I feeling or thinking that are old memories, but not true belief systems of how I currently, you never just revisit it and question it and be like, do I still feel the same way about that? Do I still feel and have those same thoughts? Or am I just remembering what happened and my memory is recounting this is how you felt back then? But do I really still feel that way? If the answer is no, then you can change. So that's what I would say for that. Afraid to scrape the knees now. Said, speaking of word, I tell you something, don't put me in front of nobody's church. A few curse words to slide. I was like, it's in there somewhere. I'm sure D can find it. Find a brother musician. Play us out. Shoot. The same thing with the Sony lens is one mount, 100%. Yeah, you don't have to replace the lenses when you get a new camera. Amen and amen again. Echo where? Echo. I'm maybe it was when I was sharing the screen or something. Let me know if that's still a thing. I don't hear anything, obviously, but I don't know. But yeah, now y'all messed me up with the gosh darn. I'm like, echo. I don't hear no gosh darn echo. It could have been when I shared the screen or whatever. But I'm curious. I'll watch the replay and see what I can find there. But oh, I'm like, oh, thank you. I'm like, echo, not in audio, the military thing. It is a bunch of y'all in the military. Thank you. Clearly, I never would have made it. And so, November Echo X-ray, like the Sony NEX. Oh my gosh. Yeah, thank you. Because I'm like, Nancy Edward, Xavier Institute of the Gifted, the School of the Gifted. Freaking X-Men. They'd be like, Roger Bravo, Charlie, get her out of here. Get her the hell out of here. They'd be like, you're dismissed. And be like, honorably or dishonorably discharged. Which one is like, I need to know. Am I getting the benefits or I do need to like go get a job or something? Like, let me know if you gonna kick me out there. But November Echo X-ray. I'll try to remember that there's no guarantees, but I appreciate it. So time is money and also a non-renewable resource. 100%. I can always make more money. I can never get my time back. 100%. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Thinking of Rokinon. That's exactly what it was. Said, are there any pitfalls to avoid when searching for a used lens? Granules in the lens will make a crunchy noise, like if you put a glass down and on top of like some sugar or salt on your table and just like move the glass on top of it. That little kind of granulation of a noise that you'll hear if you ever twist a lens. So here's how you can test for a used lens, because all my other cameras are used other than the ZV-E10, and all of my lenses are used except for the Sigma 16. So I'm a queen of knowing about the used stuff. So what you want to do when you get a lens, here's the thing. When you're buying from a place, if it's from a person, tell them to shut the hell up and let you look at it. Because they go, yeah, I just do photography. You know what I'm saying? I worked with James Brown. And it's just like, sir, can you please be quiet so I can look at this gear? I did not come to find your life story. I just want to buy this and go on with my life. All right. Ignore them if they just let them talk. So what you want to do is you want to look at the back. And so let me see here. I can zoom this in actually. So you'll see on here, the connectors, these gold connectors, those are the electronics that will connect to your camera. When you connect it in, you want to make sure that that stuff works. If it has a metal mount, you're fine because this shouldn't be bent. It should fit smoothly. It should connect accurately. It's okay if it's a dent. You'll see sometimes where it's like dented, but it's not impacting the quality. That means it's going to work fine. But you want to make sure if it's metal, there are no bends in the actual metal, because sometimes people be hiking and they'll drop it off a mountain and it's bent. Once it's bent, it's screwed. You need to have somebody replace it, and that ain't you. So when you put it onto your camera, I got good questions today. When you put it onto your camera, right, it should fit smoothly. Listen to how this sounds. You hear that? It's smooth. All you hear is that the two parts touching, and it's smooth. The other thing is that on the front, you should be able to twist it. Here, let me stop the music so you can hear real quick. When you twist it, all you should hear is when it hits that side for it to stop at that millimeter. That's all you should hear. Excuse me. You should not hear no noises. If the other thing is like the lens has two parts. This part here is to move the actual part for you to focus, or not focus, but to zoom in and zoom out. This second ring right here, usually the lenses will have one on there. If it's a zoom lens, This should twist and make no noises. You hear that? You hear nothing. Now with the the Sony is a beater. I bought it intentionally because I know I probably never use it like that. This one is struggling. It's making these. You hear that? This is like if you were buying this as your go-to, it should never make noise. I already knew it was dropped, it's bent. You're fine. As long as it focuses, that's all I need. I'm not doing manual focus on this, so I was fine for as cheap as I got it. So this, if you can even hear that, no, absolute no. So that should be a signal. It's just like, it ain't twisting smoothly. It ain't doing none of that. Same thing, kit lens. Shouldn't hear nothing. You should just be able to twist it and it works. Also, with these parts right here on the front, where you see these numbers and stuff, do like this. That face shouldn't fall off. If the face falls off, then what that's going to say about that lens is that somebody on the beach, they out there with Doc Rock, living in the Lord's backyard, having a grand Ole Opry, but beach, sand, travel, dust particles over time, they never clean it or whatever. You do want to wipe your stuff off, and be mindful to cover stuff like, you know, the hot shoe and stuff if it's not in use. Just little stuff that people is like, oh, it's fine, whatever. It's like, okay, be out in the rain. It's like people be like, oh, but it ain't weather sealed. Are you finna be in the rain? Unless you are, we talking about the wrong price point here. But cause I ain't gonna be in the rain. I ain't finna be in those. There people be lollygagging about the freaking videos, slow motion. You will never see me out here in these streets. Okay, never. Doing a slow motion sequence in the rain, because you know why? Your mama said you need to have a hat on your head. Stop playing out there in the street, you're gonna catch a cold. Locked into my memory. So stuff like that with your lens, you should not have that as a thing. It should be smooth operation. Smooth operation. When you put that thing on there, now when you line it up, you put it on, you should hear that confirmation click in there. And then what you want to do, turn your camera on, and you want to have learned, if you are buying a lens, have a camera. Even if you got to rent one, have a camera with you so you can try it, because just looking at it, you're not going to know, and you can't test the autofocusing motors either. The other thing is that you want to put this into a photo mode. Even if you got to bring a notebook with you, save a video and watch it or whatever, make time for your purchases if it's used in person. Do this stuff also if you're ordering from like B&H or Adorama or any of these other companies or whatever that are great. KEH, I really like them. Any of these companies that you're using, and you buy used stuff from them, still test it. Same thing, stuff happens sometimes. You want to put it in photo mode. Have a video that somebody has done this, and you save it, or you got the step-by-step stuff written down, put it in photo mode, have a memory card, and put it in where it'll take pictures. Now, the next thing, you should be able to hear that camera fly. You should be able to put it in auto mode, put it in sport mode, like with the Crocs, put it in sport mode and let it fly. It should fly. I mean, at autofocusing work and stuff like that, point it at the person, even at their face, or you can open your phone, put on a video or something like that, so you see the face tracking and stuff. So let's do this in real time, because I want to make sure y'all don't get got out here in these streets. Do I have a meeting after this? I'm screwed if I did. No, okay, I don't. I didn't think so. All right. Let's go here. Ah, crap. This is going to be Inception-ish. But let me see if I can pull. Do I have a picture of my, I think I said on my website, it should be my face. So I'm gonna try to pull up a picture of myself, because even the Sony stuff, it'll focus on a photo. So you see that focus on my face right there? If I'm in here, it should focus on the face, right? I should be able to see it. No matter where I move, that autofocusing should work. So when I fly, you see, tracking the eye and all of that, it should fly. and it should go right back to acquiring autofocus. And then when I go in here to review the photos, it's buffering right now. I should be able to scroll through. You can select it and you should be able to go through and see that you hit focus. This is why you want to have a memory card. Even if it's just you buying a lens, you can go rent a camera from lensrentals.com. What was it, like Diana.link/lens rentals is the thing. So you can go to Lens Rentals and get a I think it's like $25 off, or your first rental, I think it is. But you can rent a camera. You only need it for like a week or a few days or whatever, or even your local stores will let you get one. Local camera stores, that is. Rent one. Get a memory card. You'll need this stuff anyway. Have that stuff ready to go. Take it with you, because they can be like, oh, I'll give you a memory card. It always sucks. You know what I'm saying? So no, and we don't know how old this crap is. Take you a memory card, SanDisk Extreme or SanDisk Extreme Pro memory card. Take you a battery or whatever. Like if you trying out the camera, same rules apply. I'm going to do the same exact stuff. If I'm buying a camera body, I'm taking a lens. I'm taking a memory card. I'm taking another battery because sometimes they may not have one. I'm taking a look at the actual internals for the sensor and stuff like that. So if that's what I'm doing with the camera, on the inside, it shouldn't be dirty. It should not be no fingerprints and stuff like that. Fingerprints you can mitigate. Some of this other stuff, you like want to make sure it's no dents around here. So if you look around this metal ring, it should be even. Like it shouldn't be no dents, dings, or nothing like that. The connectors down here, it should connect smoothly. The sensor, sometimes you may get one if they're buying it from somebody or whatever, where it's got fingerprints and some other stuff or whatever. You know, something to be mindful of. That may be a smudge. You can clean that, but it shouldn't be scratches. It shouldn't be dents, dings, chips, none of that. When you look at the footage, you shouldn't see any dead pixels in the video files and stuff like that. I go for the gold when I'm testing stuff, but it shouldn't take you more than like 10 minutes or so to test something and be like, okay, good, you get to go. So hopefully it helps. Saying sneak a preach. Saying fear is like a puppy. You train it to be what you want to train it to be. Train it so you are in charge and not let it pull you on a leash. That covers most bad beliefs. You trained it to control you 100%. It's 1,000% right. Saying procrastination. It's a word. It's an amazing. Thank you so much. My pleasure. Saying I will win or I will learn, but I will not fail. 100%. It's soul glow. It was. Her hair was fly. It was like, to keep going day to thine own self be true. Amen. And amen again. Saying it's worth it to fail at a new thing to get to the next step. Yep, 100%. Hey, Shelly, good to see you. Glad that you are here. It sounds good. No echo. Okay. Yeah. I was missing the point on that one earlier. It's like November Echo X-ray or whatever. It's like, whatever. I'm like audio X-ray. I'm like, is there an echo? Is it James Brown? Wisco Tangy Foxtrot. Yeah. So Doc is a military guy. Listen, all I know is they'd never let me, they'd probably me cleaning the barracks and stuff, making coffee for folks. They just be like, what happened? You failed paratrooper school, huh? It's like, yeah, what happened? I was like, I didn't know the words for the alphabet. I was saying Nancy, X-ray. No, not X-ray, but Xavier. And we missed the drop zone. I said, James Brown, want to kiss myself. James Brown was the man. Thank you for sharing your journey with us, powerful. My pleasure. Always best. Since and no frolicking in the briar. Oh my goodness. Lens rentals. Yes. Dyna.link/lens rentals if you want to get a boost 25% off that you can get if it's your first time renting. And just to show real quick before we go. This is Lens Rentals. When I want to test a camera and I'm not sure if I want to buy it yet, I'll go here. And so you can get all kinds of stuff, even like Rode Wireless Goes. You can get certain microphones and stuff that you want to test, or just like you need it for a certain project. They're really good. I've been using them now for a few years, and I absolutely love it. It's just such a phenomenal experience. The thing that got me was their, just like they're super respectful and honoring. So I had made an order and then found out a few days later I needed something else and placed a second order. Okay, well, obviously you're paying for shipping twice, you're paying for whatever fees and stuff twice. Well, they reached out to me almost instantly and was like, hey, you placed 2 orders, like an actual person. It's like, hey, you placed 2 orders. Do you want us just to combine this for you, and then we can give you some of your money back in fees and stuff? And I'm like, why, thank you. I wasn't even thinking to ask for that or whatever. I just assumed like you just pay to play or whatever. It is what it is. Like, oh no, we got you. And I was like, why thank you. I appreciate that. So you want to try out one of these cameras, you are good to go. Even like batteries and stuff, memory cards, whatever, you can test it. You're good to go. They give you good quality stuff. So whatever it is that you want. So like the ZV-E10 is on here. Even like some of the other camera, it's available for pre-order right now. I don't know if they got theirs yet. Oh, it's available now. Awesome. Yeah, so they usually get their stuff pretty good. With the other stuff, like I said, ZV-1 came out. I was like, man, I don't know if I want to buy it. I'm like, let me rent it. And so I wound up renting it. Super fun to use. Eventually wind up getting it later on. And they do have where you can purchase. So you go over here to, you can check out the pricing for whatever, if you want to do certain days. I do recommend, like, the more expensive that gear is, you do want to get the lens cap or lens cap plus, depending on how expensive the stuff is with it. It just helps to know that you're covered with the insurance side of it, just in case. Yeah, so that's important. If you get a camera from them, it'll come with certain stuff. So this one comes with a battery, comes with a body cap. So if you want a kit lens or something similar, you can get one of those or whatever. But they are great. They package it up in a way. And there's a video on the channel. Like, you get it, comes in a box, return labels, even like the tape. You keep the same box. You're going to put it back in the hard case. It is a phenomenal, fun experience. So if you want to try one out, I encourage you to try out Lens Rentals. They're really cool. So yeah. So hope you guys got a lot of value out of this live stream today. Hope you guys enjoyed the announcement about the new upcoming course that is available right now. So I highly encourage you to check this out from masteringmicro.live. And this early bird pricing is going to go up, and we're kicking this thing off. Day 1 in the course is going to be September 20th. And so the stuff is good to go. We're ready. Just waiting on the time frame and stuff like that during this launch process. And so details and stuff at masteringmicro.live. And final question coming in here from Gabriel saying, hello, why do you like the ZV-E10? What are your favorite features of the camera? I really enjoy the fact that it's light. I'm somebody that adores my A6600. It is a beast. Z battery, E mount, obviously, unlimited recording, flip up screen, 4K 30, 1080p, 120 frames per second, blah, 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 right? Headphone port, IBIS. I love this camera. It's my favorite camera. But she is a girthy one. She is heavy. And more heavy with the Sigma 16 on here. And even with the 10-18, which is a super light lens. And I picked this up. It feels like I'm ready to work. Like it's right for me. It's just my camera. Okay. I picked up the ZV-E10. I'm like, how you doing? It feels good. Feels good in the hand. It's just, I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, everybody, now I wouldn't go as far as like the vlogging stuff per se and like, oh, it's only for like vlogging, but I picked this up and I'm like, this kind of hand holding, like I got a little finger back here and just basically my thumb and my middle finger, just like 3-point contact kind of. And this is what I was using the vlog with yesterday and just constantly walking around. Didn't need Manfrotto Pixie unless I wanted to. And then at that point, I'm just like, oh, dang. I'm like, okay, accurately described as a vlogging camera, rightly so, not just because of the flip out screen, but it has all of the same bones of this. Don't cost nearly as much. This is $13.98 for this one, $6.99 for this one. Now, because of the two variables between the A66 and it's like virtually no, this has IBIS, this has digital. They both kind of get used in the same way. And to some extent, like you get Sony Catalyst browse. I don't have any camera other than the ZV-1 that has access to that. I'm super pumped about that. Eye autofocus, you can't get that in A61 or 64. You had to go 866 for eye autofocus. For us that wear glasses, or just you trying to catch your kids, whatever, Bees Knees Hall of Fame, you can't go back. I love it. I adore it. ZV-1 has it also, but now this one does too, for a fraction of the price. I don't have to get any new lenses or worry about anything because they all fit the one mount. Headphone port, unheard of, unfreaking heard of. I get excited about that because until you are doing videos a lot and you get that bzzz audio that you didn't know that a headphone jack would have helped you, I don't have to get any kind of extra stuff to sit on top. I don't have to do none of that stuff. Even to the point to where I agree with the smaller FW50 batteries for this, because the Z batteries are heavier, and sometimes the what you buy or what you use when you do have multiple or options, you'd be surprised how many times some of us default to our phones just because it's convenient and it's right there and it's light, instead of having to bulk it up and rig it up and all this extra other stuff. You don't have to, but this is very representative of my ZV-1. Like, this is going to go in my bag, it slips down and it goes away, just like the ZV-1 did. And it's not that much bigger. It's all right. It's all right. It's not that much bigger though. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're comparable. So I get all the things that I love about my ZV-1 and all the things that I love about my A6600 in a cheaper, smaller, lightweight package. And I lose none of the benefits, none of the picture profiles. I don't lose anything other than the Z battery that in this instance, for this specific unique case, I don't mind, because that lighter is internal USB charging, like all the stuff that I love. It's already there. For my clients, all the things that they need, it's already there. So that's what I enjoy most about it for sure. Saying, is this an upgrade to the ZV-1 with the option to add lenses? Some would say yes. I would say that's a preference, because the Zeiss glass in the ZV-1 is no slouch. It is no slouch. So you can get really great quality. I've taken photos and videos that confuse people. I'm like, was this taken on the A6600 or the ZV-1? And because of the question, people were like, well, I guess it's the ZV-1 because you mentioned it, but I never would have guessed that it was. I'm like, ain't no slouch. So it's not necessarily like an upgrade. It's just a preference of form factor. Do you want something with a collapsible lens with it already baked in, still has picture profiles and all that stuff? You get a microphone port, no headphone port, but at that point you probably won't need one, or maybe even want one. Smaller battery, but who cares, because it's internal USB charging. I never use more than one battery. Check out the ZV-1 accessories video for that. But it works fantabulously. I don't think it's a better. Obviously, the better lenses, then yes, of course. But I don't think it's like a better in the choosing between the two. I think it's a preference of the what you want. If you want to get into lens options, the ZV-E10 is going to be perfect for that. If you're just going to keep the kit lens on it, then I guess you want the different form factor and options later, I guess. But it's not like, that's the thing, is it's not even like a quality difference, or it's no big line or chunk like that in that way, you know. Clapping, okay, appreciate that. A 6400 for video recording on a tripod. No, because at the price now that this stuff is going for, okay, let's close links now because too many things are open at the same gosh darn time. And all right, so let's go. Sony A6400. Same camera you were mentioning, A6400. Kit lens, $998. Camera by itself, $898. Let's go here. Camera, same internals, same sensor, same 6K video downsampled into 4K 30 frames per second at the max resolution, and still the same 1080p 120 frames per second. You actually get digital stabilization and Sony Catalyst browse and a headphone port that is not in the A6400. You still get the same lens mount for the Sony E mount. So if you're going to get it with the kit lens, at this point the answer is hell no. There is only one reason, maybe two, that you would get the Sony a6400, 6100, even in some respects, certain use cases, a6600 now, is because of the body and form factor of the camera, and you prefer the photography based kind of a layout for the hybrid body to get the extra kind of buttons on the back. And it's not really that many. Still got a function button, menu button. You lose this switch here that I adore on my a6600. You lose that on the a64 or whatever, but everything else for the most part, that's the only thing. And this record button gets pushed to the front, and then at the dial here, you miss this. So instead of that, you have one digital button. You still get this one, but that one is removed, and you still get the C1. So unless you just prefer, it's more of a difference like as far as custom buttons at that point than for the A6600, because that has way more. But you never had it, you don't really miss it in that way. But at this price point now, again, for same stuff, still what is like 10, 11 frames per second in the, you saw how fast this thing was freaking firing off for photos. You ain't missing nothing. You're not being shortchanged with the ZV-E10 at this point, which is why it's going to more likely become like the #1 recommended camera that I talk about. It's cheaper. It's better because you get the updated autofocus. So eye autofocus, the A6400 doesn't have that. And real quick, because I can show you. This is what you're looking at, right? If I turn so that you can see the info display on the camera now, this is what it, like you saw the other one had eye autofocus. This one has face detection autofocus, which is not bad. But if it doesn't see the face, then it's not like, at least you're going from the eye to the face. This one, you just have the face. So the autofocusing mechanisms and systems is faster in the ZV-E10. This is, again, it's not bad at all, but you just go now and you get better with the eye autofocus. This doesn't have it. And so there are times, again, if you wear glasses where maybe you'll see where you'll lose it sometimes or whatever, but you know, if your glass is smudged or whatever, and they'd be like, who are you? It's like, but that's like far and few and in between. I almost never get that issue. So better battery life performance also. I don't know how long I had this camera on now or whatever, but battery test, I don't know, it's like slightly better in my experience and stuff. I did the battery testing and stuff yesterday, so you're getting a little bit better. And all settings and stuff is still the same. I'm trying to figure that out. I'm like, why is the battery life better other than they just maybe optimize it a little bit better for it to go down a little bit slower. So far as I can tell right now, works a little bit better in battery life department, but price right now, no, unless you're finding something for like $450, $500, but you're going to see these ZV-E10s pop up in about 30 days. So about October, you'll see used ZV-E10s hit B&H Photo Video, Adorama, KEH, Facebook Marketplace, or whatever. You'll see people that bought it, didn't like it, or didn't know what they were doing and returned it, and you'll get it maybe for cheap or cheaper. So you'll see them Best Buy, gently used and stuff like that. So at this point, no, unless you find it for like uber cheap for A61 or 6400, the answer at this point is no. Unless you just want that form factor with the photography based settings-esque, but in flip up screen maybe. But at this point, no. Not worth it. 2019, well, the thing is, like, 2019 technology is not bad. It's just the fact that you're getting more. You're getting more for less in cost. Lighter body design, better microphone. You do, like I said, the PASM dial is gone, but you get that in a button, so it's like it kind of don't matter. I'm not finding any reason for somebody really to buy a 61 or 64 unless you're just finding it uber cheap. That's it. Face detection autofocus is fantastic. I mean, it's blazing fast. The ZV-E10 though has the latest and most fastest autofocusing system. It just does. So hopefully that answers some questions. Maybe we'll do a dedicated ZVE10 live stream again or Q&A session about that. But we're going to wrap up this stream for this week. Hopefully you guys got a lot of value out of today. Be sure to go to masteringmicro.live. Take advantage of the early bird pricing for the course during this launch process. If you're needing help or wanting to take your micro content game to a whole other level, I highly encourage you to check it out. With that, guys, a little bit of passion. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.